Hi there, I'm Mikaela Titheridge from the Crafty Oink Pen, and I've taken on the challenge of the 10 in 30. 10 projects in 30 minutes. I shall be making 10 Christmas cards using the Words of Cheer stamp set and the Christmas cheer dies, and I'm going to be making use of the Stamparatus to help me out. Now, as per the challenge, we are permitted to have all of our card bases and elements cut, so I have got some pieces cut already. And you'll see from my grid paper, to help me out, I've got a few little pencil markers which will help me. So I've got 10 matting layers here that I have prepped up ready, and I will set that into the little markers I've got there. That just helps when I'm making multiples, as does the Stamparatus. And then I'm going to bring in my black Memento ink. Now I've already set up my Stamparatus. You'll see where this is going to sit in a moment, and I'm going to just bring that down for you to see a little easier. Going to bring that down, stamp that there, and then after stamping it the once, I'm quite simply going to turn it round, anchor it in place with the magnets, ink it up again, and do the other side. Don't worry that it overlaps, if indeed yours does. I shall be putting a sentiment there. So let's do the remaining 9. We'll whiz through these. I love to use the Stamparatus for the purpose of multiples. Once you have it set up, you really can kind of fly through what it is that you're creating. And I'm doing black on white, but you could be choosing a completely different colorway if you wanted. And obviously a different image. I like to put some tape, washi tape or something around my magnets. Helps me to pick them up with ease, and it just lessens that strength of them a little bit because they are really, really strong, which is fantastic, but sometimes you just want it to be mildly less. You see, I kind of apply some pressure with the palm of my, or the heel of my hand. That helps to give a nice even impression. And I personally like to lift my plate as I ink it. You can rest it onto perhaps a stamp case. That's quite helpful too. Nearly there. I found this quite a fun challenge, and a challenge that I believe started with one of our American demonstrators, Brandy Cox, I think it was. You see how quick and simple this is. Last couple. Now I have also cut some internal matting layers, and to help, I've actually made them the same size as my front matting layer, and again that is done purposefully to just help with the ease of cutting, because it means that I can cut multiples all the same size. It's so handy to have those little pencil markers. And here's my last one. So with my internal matting layers, before I set aside my Stamparatus, I'm going to stamp a little bit of this floral image on the internal layer. So let's set that aside. So I've got 10 more of these, and this time I'm going to, you'll see I've got another marker here, which is just down here. Now I only really need to put one in this area, and I can again ink up and just quite simply put a little flourish which will go in the bottom corner. So it's just, so I haven't had to move anything, I'm just rotating my paper and putting it in a different position now to get the best and the positioning that I want. What I think's fun about this particular challenge is if we went round the world here and followed all of the challenges that are on offer here today, you would end up with quite a few cards made by the end of it, which I think would be fun. Nearly there. We're nearly at the point of assembly, which will be great. There are my internal layers. Now, since I've got this set up, I thought I would make use of doing my sentiment panels, which I've used soft sea foam for. So I've got 10 of these. And I've got another little marker down here. I'm going to only just put one just going to put one magnet here, and then there we go. And I'm making use, I don't know if you've spotted, I'm making use of the Stampin' Up logo there so that I can use that as part of my marker. Nest it on top of there and kind of up to the other side. Oops. You get in a roll and then you get out of that rhythm, don't you? I will make I'll make the ends of these a little more attractive in a minute with one of our punches. Punches make it kind of quick and easy to create rather than dies, but I have used some dies for a little bit of added embellishment. So there we go, that's all of my stamping done. Let's just move that to one side. So we've got a lot of assembly now. So I've brought in a shaded spruce card base, and if I do that, it helps me to pick these up a little easier. So, oops, That's obviously very ready to go. There we go. That's one. And again, I've made my internal matting layer exactly the same colours. Again, helps with ease of cutting the same size and potentially using the same colour, means that I can just buy one pack of that colour, which is useful. I'm very much a liquid glue girl for the quick and ease, as you can see, of how I'm managing to stick these down. I find with tape, you've got to line it up and then remove the backing. There's no wiggle space with it. Whereas I find this way, I've got a tiny little bit of wiggle room and the application of it is super quick. And it really is so strong. So there's that. Now I'll do the same with these layers. So these will be my internal layers. This was such a fun challenge to take on, something I've not really consciously tried before. I have needed to make multiples, and I have used the Stamparatus before for doing so, but I've never timed myself. So I'm hoping I'm going to do well today. Just one more to go. Right, now I've gone for a Sahara sand card base, and I'll use my bone folder on these. Just to get them. Oops, got two in there. We'll go for something neutral to bring in the shaded spruce and the white. There we go. We'll check I've got the front, so I want those to be that way round. And now we can start assembling these. So perhaps we'll go for the insides first, shall we? Really liked these colours together. And then in a minute, I've pulled in a ribbon. It's actually got a retired colouring, but it's two-tone, and it works so well, I think, with the shaded spruce. And that is our Old Olive and Pretty Peacock ribbon. It's kind of two-tone, and it is absolutely beautiful. See, if I was using tape there, this would just take so much longer. And one more. There we go. Now we'll do the fronts. Exactly the same. Oops. The glue came out there. It's obviously quite warm in here. Often comes out on its own when it gets warm. Now these could be your thank you cards or indeed your Christmas cards, but you could also find an alternative image. You could use, not that you couldn't use this for birthday cards as well, you could do so. But rotating that image in your Stamparatus really helps you with time saving and just managing to come up with a background quite quickly. So there are my card bases already prepped. So what I've done now is we have stamped all of these, and I'm going to bring in this punch where I can choose which end I want. I'm going to try and go for this top one here. Oops. Make sure I've got it lined up and turn it around to punch the other side. There we go. And do that for all of them. As I say, you could use a die here and stamp onto the die, but using a punch is just so quick and simple, especially for something like your sentiment. It's just a nice, quick and simple addition to your card. Line it up. Oops. I like to look underneath just to make sure it's straight, because sometimes it can go off a little bit of an angle. It's always good to just check. Okay. Now this is soft sea foam. I thought it would be quite nice to add another tone of green, a really soft tone this time, rather than doing a sentiment panel of white. I thought just a light colour would be quite pretty. There we go, last couple. Oops. There we are. That's all my sentiments. Just need to make sure that I stick those on the correct way up now. And I've already cut my ribbon roughly to length. So we will add, I'm going to use, oops, the length of this. Let's just get that right of where I want that to go roughly. Just there. So there we go. That is where I'm going to stick that down. And I'm just, as you can see, anchoring it down with just a little strip that will get hidden by the sentiment. And then I can trim the ends a little bit and just angle those ends at the very end. So this is the ribbon I was talking about that is a mixture, oh, I think that's going to be a bit too much. A mixture of Old Olive and a firm favourite colour of mine, Pretty Peacock. Absolutely beautiful, the two-tone effect of it, which, as I say, I felt went quite well with our shaded spruce. Two more, lost the end. There it is. And finally, there we go. Okay, now I want to bring in some dimensionals because this is where this is going to sit. Now the trick here is you really want to try and make sure you adhere to cardstock and not to ribbon. So I'm going to make sure I do. I'm going to put one piece here and one piece here since my ribbon is going across at this angle. So we will do that, and you see how that has completely disguised where the stamping overlapped in the middle there. So up there, down there. As I say, I'll trim the ends a little bit. Oops. Bring that in a bit. Really loved these colours together. Pop in on your dimensionals. They're the sort of thing that you can, you know, sit and add these things ahead of time if you wanted to. As I say, I got certain amounts ready ahead of time. Oops, that one there. I'd missed one then. It sat over there. Now, it's quite funny creating these in your 30 minutes. I wonder if I will achieve this challenge or not, or whether I'll be just out of time. So there's my sentiments. Now, I have used all of these dies here ahead of time to, this is another really good nifty little tip, is to pop your embellishments onto glue dots ahead of time so that you can then just quite simply you can pick these up, put them where you want to put them, not quite off at an angle like that. There we go. And then I can fluff up the little flowers if I want to afterwards. These are really nifty to die cut from all your little offcuts. And again, popping them onto glue dots helps make this step so much easier and quicker for you. So the colours I've used here are real red and then some of our gold foil. And then in a moment I will just add in a cherry cobbler centre. It's sticking to me. There we go. Thought these colours worked really well together. There we go. And then I have pulled in, I had some of these left over, the holiday rhinestones. And I'm going to pop cherry cobbler rhinestones in the middle of my flowers. And a couple of shaded spruce. Kind of just on my background. You see? I'll quickly whiz through that, and other than trimming off my ribbon a little bit at the ends, they are my 10 cards. I'm not sure quite whether I've managed to do it in 30, but I've certainly given it a good try. But I hope either way, whether I've managed it or not, you have enjoyed and I have inspired you to pull out your Stamparatus if you happen to own one. And if you don't, I hope I've given you a little insight in how you could use one and the benefits. There's nifty tools. Oops. Really liking these and really liking these colours. Now, had I have perhaps not done the centre, the inside of my card, I probably could have achieved this a little quicker. But hey, I've really got my cards done and finished here. I toyed with colouring in the background, but I actually really liked it being just black and white and letting the colour come from the embellishment of the sentiment. There we go. I'll just trim these down. Oops. Before I trim off the flourish. And there are my 10 cards in 30 or thereabouts. Really love this ribbon. There you are, 10 cards in 30. And there's my card for you. I hope you like them.